Hello, everybody. I debated whether to do this, but since I did initial coverage some time ago on it, I think I'm kind of compelled to circle up the wagons. Again, this is not a neen or doop doop doop. It's to try to keep people safe. Back on April 16th of this year, I did a swag preview of Metacloud, meta-cloud.io. If you want to check it out, I do encourage you to. And at the time, I made some pretty terse statements that unfortunately the team has blatantly ignored. And what I'd like to do right now is for all you I'm going to play the audio here of what I said, just a snippet of audio that's relevant because some mistakes were made and I called these to be the truth and people didn't listen. I didn't get beat up by any, there's not any diehards in this one, fortunately. And I think most people were enticed by what I'm going to cover. So just so you know, let me level set. On April 16th, they had launched this as a pre-sale. So check and listen here as I play this audio for you. They announced this pre-sale and it's on their site only. It has a heavily constrained inventory. When they announced this pre-sale, they had it broken out into rounds, which is common. It's not unusual to have rounds. But I was excited to see rounds. Round 1, 100 million tokens. Round 2, 50 million tokens. And then they have a staggered price. And you get a steep discount if you bought in round 1. Now, initially, this is supposed to be like a one-day thing. You saw the ticker. Then they changed it where all of a sudden, round 1 is like eternal. And so they've been opening it up and just said, okay, round one. There's only 1 billion supply, so it's constrained. And I don't know why they changed the round 1, because what that does, the whole point of doing the pre-sale with these rounds is to benefit those that get in early. If they changed it to where everybody can get in early, nobody really benefits. Now, maybe what they were trying to do is avoid the pump and dumpers, maybe. But then why bother having round 2 at all? They might as well have just said, okay, we're going to have one round and it's sold at the discount. And then we're going to list. And then the listing price they quoted is a penny per or 10 cents per token. But I don't think they're going to be 10 cents per token unless if they somehow preserve some tokens to keep the price down. Because based on the hard cap they have established, which they're not really close to, but they're getting somewhat up there. And the fact they've got this whole round going for another 25 days, I don't know that they're going to maintain that price unless they did some fancy trickery. So, just so you know, again, to repeat, that was April 16th. The pre-sale for this was initially scheduled to release in the month of April or the month of May. I don't know if you have a calendar handy, but we're in the month of August. The pre-sale concluded, but they kept extending it. Extend. All of a sudden, there's an announcement that, okay, we're about to launch. And then we get this business, quote, Meta heads, we can't thank you enough for this smooth launch, kissy face. Now it's time to build and bring to the community the best product ever. So this is now in August 11th that this tweet goes out from the Metacloud official Twitter account. So you can't call me a fudder because FUD is false information designed to be to the detriment of something. This is not false. This is their own words. Anybody who was in this or watched this or followed this will see they're saying now it's time to build, right? They do the pre-sale and it takes months and they keep extending the date. I called this out as a problem. They sent a message asking, what do you want from us now? I said honesty, because you weren't honest about your pre-sale because you kept moving the date and then backed everything up and pissed people off. We're going to go through that. That's what we're going to do today. And again, this is information from their own Twitter. So people can't accuse me of making things up. This came from their own Twitter of the problem that I was trying to call out way back in April about how they did the pre-sale. So they say this, right? And this is funny. Sometimes Ape says, quote, don't sell at the first claim. It'll ruin a lot of things. The project had a lot of potential. What he's talking about is the claim process, which I'll get to here momentarily. Scroll down. User Lonely Wolf says, quote, first claim in a month. Pre-sale time was extended. Should have let us claim first, vest during launch, which I called out in my issues way back in April, what it's doing. User Team Boot says, quote, I'm watching DexScan. If we can't claim the tokens, who's selling or buying now? I noticed the tokens are being bought and sold on DexScan. User Gene responds, you can buy or sell on PancakeSwap. Wait 1 month to unlock 10%. So I want to clarify what they did here. What they did is they locked you into a pre-sale The same thing OpenStreamWorld did, which gives me pause that it might be the same people. OpenStreamWorld did the same thing. They locked you into a pre-sale, took your money, opened up trading to everybody else to buy, but you in the pre-sale can't claim any of the tokens. You can't claim any of them. They're locked. OpenStream at least lets you claim the first chunk of a thing. Here, Metacloud didn't let you claim anything. So if you bought in pre-sale, your tokens are stuck in there. You cannot claim them for a month, which is what this says. First claim in this case, 17 days. Follow me here. Scroll down. User Vitaly Skinner says, quote, I was banned in Telescam for a simple question. Why will I receive tokens only in a month and not now? This is very funny. You block your own investors. Isn't that strange? I now have a bad impression of you because of the way they did the pre-sale. This is all about the pre-sale, mind you, and nothing else here. Scroll down. User Mark with Tech says, quote, did I get banned from the Telescam or something? User Jivan Gowda says, quote, how do I claim the tokens? Can anybody help me here? User Farhan Ahmed says, quote, my coins liquidity locked. Why? Because that's what it was. User Team Boots, quote, if the price keeps going down, it's obvious we all got scammed because they're the only ones that can sell tokens. So don't keep high hope. This is one thread. This is just off them saying we launched, calling it a smooth launch. But yet your people are pissed off because they can't claim their tokens. You took their money and then let everybody else benefit from it. So after this launch, right, they send a link to Dex Tools to say, good luck. Guess what Dex Tools says? Why? Because you hurt investor sentiment. That's why. I said in my April video, and it's in a different segment, I said, no, this is going to launch about, if they're going to try to hold, I don't think they're going to be able to hold that price. Does this look like they held the price? Pump and dump. And it's hardly ever recovered. Because all you did is you allowed people to buy in off the low price, and then you let certain people claim tokens that weren't part of the pre-sale because you gave them tokens that they could pump and dump. So anybody who's stuck in the pre-sale is going to be left with a crap price. That contradicts the whole intent of the pre-sale in the first place, because what they should have done is let everybody claim their tokens day one so it's fair. They held back because they knew that there was going to be a pump and dump. And I would guess that the devs took major amounts of money off this business, and now they said, okay, fair game, 30 days you get the token and see what happens, knowing you weren't going to make any money. But they made money, and then they said, lock liquidity, and it is truly locked. The problem is they've already taken their money and made a dash. So then the fallout of this falderall, Metacloud, quote, lately we're getting a lot of hate and fun attacks in our Telescam chats. If this continues, chat will be muted forever as we can't keep up with the hate, threats, and bad behavior from some individuals. Warnings out, if we keep getting it, we will mute the chat forever. And then they blocked anybody's ability to respond to you. Listen, when you make a piss poor decision on your pre-sale and you harm investor sentiment and you cause people to essentially lose money because of the way you did it, and you keep moving the goalpost and you keep changing the game to where you took people's money and then ran, and now you're calling it FUD when it's not FUD, it's the truth that you caused this problem, and then you don't own it and aren't accountable for it. That's why I call it as a risk. The fact that they did the pre-sale the way they did it and they were moving the goalpost. That was the real problem on this, right? So the saga continues. They said, quote, if you don't have patience and you not meant to go with the ups and downs that a startup have, first of all, not every startup has this issue. This is an issue because of the way you did the pre-sale, you freaking jackoffs. Quote, you don't deserve the moon landing. No, it landed all right. You landed. It never hit the moon. You landed. That's what happened. So they actually allowed responses. I think this was an oversight on their part because it's, of course, on iPhone, which means it's some individual. User Don Baker says, quote, you need to release a prototype that impresses the market before pre-sale. Investors get their first allocation. There's going to be a mass sell-off. And if the price dips below pre-sale, all confidence will be lost. It's already dipped below pre-sale. What he's talking about with the prototype product, Metacloud presented like it was going to have this metaverse thing. I covered it on my April video. Do check that out. This metaverse thing, you're going to be able to walk around and go to concerts and do paintings and all this stuff. No product, just images. And I said, I think it's too lofty. I don't think we're going to pull this off. Don Baker saying, you better have something come out, because if you don't, that's going to be a problem. Okay. User CryptoLoud says, quote, at least answer our questions. This is the minimum because they don't want to answer anybody. Same user, quote, where's all the marketing paid with our money? I'll get to this in a second, right? User Kuna Savarna says, quote, kindly unblock me in the group. Why are you blocking people from an unknown reason? I'll tell you why. because they took the money and ran, and now they're getting flack. And I'm not even in the scam, and I already know what's happening because of their pushback. They're pushing back because they don't understand that their pre-sale strategy is what caused this crap. Moving on, where's the marketing? Indirect response or indirect response, because they didn't have the balls to respond straight to the dude. Here's our marketing. A bunch Schiller. 3 of them I've never heard of, whatever. Schiller, TikTok Schillers, and YouTube Schillers, and Schiller. Okay? Wow. Why? Because user Christos Papadopoulos. Why? Oh, yeah. So I'm not impressed by this. Schiller. This one. Number 2. Schiller. Never heard of any of these Schillers. Never heard of them. Okay? And then the CRU News. Okay, whatever. Who cares? That's not marketing. Schiller, number 3. Schiller. Never heard of any of these people at all. It's becoming a joke. Mr. Fi, LOL. It's a joke right now because they're trying to justify that they're doing something. And you got to think of this. Based on the product they presented, it's supposed to sell itself, because if you did it correctly, you wouldn't need to go after Schillers. It would speak to itself of what it's doing. And when you did the pre-sale, if you had done it right, that's a self-marketing tool. You did it wrong, so people don't buy it. And people are laughing at you because you're a joke, and the people behind this are a joke. And it's sad because you have credentialed people behind the project, but either they're contracting with the wrong goobers or these are not really the people. I don't know what the hell's going on. Where's market number 4? Schiller. Never heard of any of these people. A whole bunch of TikTok garbage. Nobody's going to care here. Nobody's going to care, right? So then here, all of a sudden, as of the 23rd, which is yesterday, quote, an official statement from our team will be delivered August 31st. We don't want any responses from you. So they keep getting beat up. What's happening is people are beating them up because they did a garbage pre-sale and they ripped people off. That was a ripoff. I can label this a scam because of the way they did it, holding people's money back, but opening up buys and sells for everybody else to dump off the project. And so people are stuck with this useless token. That's what happened to OpenStreamWorld. OpenStreamWorld did almost the exact same thing. They at least gave you the first chunk. Here, you can't even get the first chunk, so you can't do anything because they knew there was going to be a pump and dump. And they were counting on it, and then they took profits and ran, and then said, okay, good luck. They literally said good luck on the tweeter. Right? This team, this group of jackoffs had the nerve to then accuse this guy, Euron Pereira. They said, quote, be aware of this scammer. If you know who he is and his whereabouts, please inform us as we're creating a case against this person. Euron Pereira, just to put it in perspective, we don't know if it's his real photo. It doesn't matter because apparently Euron Pereira said he was going to get a lawsuit put together to go after these jokers. User Barack G says, quote, I can't wait to claim all my tokens and basically sell them, dump them. So what happens here, let's find the one. Yeah. So complaints are being made around this Metacloud because of the held back of the money and then the devs selling and do all this other stuff. This Euron person, apparently he's building a case for fraud and he's trying to get class action. There's a whole bunch of chatter about suing these jackoffs, right? So that's what's going on. That's what's happening. The community is pissed off because of what they did. They're saying that, no, this guy's, we're going to create a case against him for FUD. No, he's not fudding. He's pissed off because of what the fuck you did. Sorry, that's what it was. He's pissed. Quote, he lost 2,400, uses Jata. He lost 2,400 investing in a scam. Now I have no doubt it's totally a scam. And how to help him file the case, this is disgusting. Because that's what happened. And then they're banning people from the scam. How is this not perceived as scummy behavior off this garbage? My point, folks, here, if you jumped in this project in the pre-sale, you're screwed. If you bought in after the fact and you made some money, good on you. I don't care that it's liquidity locked. These jokers basically rip people off. And hopefully people didn't FOMO in off the pre-sale or off the aftermath because they're so-called wrecked. And I can qualify it as a scam because they're not, I don't see they're building anything. I don't see they're doing anything. And then they have the nerve to be pissed off when people call them out on their crap because that's what's happening. They're trying to call people out when it's really them that caused this fiasco, all because they jacked up the pre-sale and kept moving the goalposts, which created a risk. And I told people there in April, you moving the pre-sale is my biggest problem with you because that doesn't show confidence in your project. It shows that you got some issues and you don't want to solve them. And these guys took off with some money in one of the most brilliant getaway schemes I think I've ever seen in all of cryptocurrency. I didn't back then. I said, look at it and see what makes sense, but I wouldn't stay in it. I had one person respond on YouTube that said, y'all try to get some money and dip out. Hopefully that person made out and didn't get ripped off. And for the people in the community who got ripped off, I apologize. Because again, they did a passable job of convincing you that this was a legitimate something with generic imagery. I would say though, at the end of the day, when you see a project and they do a pre-sale, first of all, I have problems with pre-sale projects, but if they're going to do it and you see them move the goalpost, I want to repeat myself. This was first talked about in April 16th of this year, 4 months later. And then they launched this business 4 months later. They were collecting money from people for 4 months and people kept putting it on there. And then what happens? Pump and dump, because they knew what they were doing. And I guarantee the devs were enriched by this. And chances are, I can't prove anything. Chances are it's going to be abandoned. They're going to literally abandon it, run away with the money. Even if they do come up with a product, it's never going to succeed. This guy's never going to go anywhere because you've already harmed investor sentiment to a significant degree. This was a significant drop compared to where it could have been if they had treated people correctly and treated people properly. They just enriched their buddies at everybody else's expense. And I apologize that happened. And I do this video as a public service announcement to these jokers if they listen and they want the smoke, and I don't think they do, because I called out for them back in April and they didn't respond. You guys are jackoffs for what you did, and you know what you did, and don't claim you didn't do it. And banning people from Telescam isn't helping your case, by the way.